And so his father sent his younger brother, known as Prince Enlil, sent him to the solar system bod, sent him to planet Earth, and said, You shall become the Lord of Command. You are the Lord of the Word. Prince Ea, you shall remain, and you will continue to repopulate the planet with beasts and plants. You shall continue to recreate the environment on this world, and you shall be known as the Lord of Creation. And so what we have, ladies and gentlemen, are two brothers, the Lord of the Word and the Lord of Creation, vying for dominion over the planet. Now, the Lord of the Word, Enlil, I'm going to jokingly refer to him as an accountant. He was the type that would have gone to Yale and Harvard. He had a master's in banking, accounting, and business principles. And when he took over control of the mines, he began to work the beasts unmercilessly. He began to work them until they dropped. Because, in fact, it was just an experiment. It was just a beast. It was a hybrid created to do nothing more than work. It had no awareness. It had no soul. It had no mind. Now, please, before you get upset, I did say that in the early stages, the beast had no soul. I did not say that it did not acquire one. In the early stages, the beast was worked in the fields and the mines until it dropped. The Lord of the Word did not care. It was a test tube experiment. It was expendable. And then began the conflict between the Lord of the Word and the Lord of Creation. The Lord of Creation was trying to create life for the sake of life itself. What if you created life and allowed it to seek its own destiny? What if you created life and gave it tools, gave it wisdom, gave it knowledge, gave it everything necessary to, one, conceive of a goal, and two, to achieve it? What a wondrous experiment that would be. Now, we have to take a look at Prince Ea's situation, because he had grown up in the Sirius-Star system that had an institutional system that was billions of years old. It, in fact, accounted to the Orion star system. The Orion star system had institutions and systems that were billions of years even older. In other words, I am suggesting to you that the systems, the institutions that are here on Earth did not begin and naturally evolve from man, that they were placed here by extraterrestrials, by star beings, by divinities, by whatever one wishes to call them. I suggest to you that some of those institutions that we are burdened with, which absolutely make no sense, would not have naturally have evolved of man. I do not believe that some of the craziness that we are saddled with could naturally have occurred. They have been forced on us. Prince Ea, saddled with institutions and systems for hundreds of thousands of years, was trying to create an experiment with free will and free achieving of one's own destiny. The Lord of the Word was destroying the experiment. Prince Ea, in an attempt to free the beast, Prince Ea protested and was promptly removed from his command. No longer was the Lord of Creation the ultimate dominion over the beast. No, now it was passed on to the Lord of the Word, and the Lord of the Word used the beast until it dropped. The Lord of Creation, Prince Ea, fled to Africa, and there he began his experiment anew. This experiment started about 2 million years ago, and he tried to once again create a new Adama, a new beast, with a little more intelligence, a little more awareness, and being a little bit more perceptive. In time, however, the experiment known as Adama Prince Ea could no longer stand the abuse. He could no longer stand the outright ruthlessness with which the Lord of the Command, the Lord of the Word, was dealing with the animal, with the beast. And so, on one given evening, a very fateful night, the Lord of Creation, Prince Ea, snuck into the garden that he had once had dominion over. And there he found a beast. And he took the beast aside, and he gave him the knowledge of knowing each other. And he taught one male what he could enjoy with the female. And you have to understand that prior to this time, all matings, all unions of the beasts were absolutely controlled by the gods, by the technicians, by Lord Ea himself at some point. In order to get the appropriate offspring, one had to have the right male with the right female. All matings were controlled. All matings were scheduled. No deviation would be permitted or the experiment would be ruined. Prince Ea, the Genesis scientist, wore on his sleeve the logo of all the Genesis scientists. It was two intertwining strands of DNA. The primitive beast who looked at this DNA strands on the sleeve of all of the technicians, but especially on the sleeve of Prince Ea, the Lord of all the Genesis scientists, the beast looked at those intertwining strands of DNA and he saw snakes. In fact, the two intertwining serpents have given birth to the caduceus, the symbol that the medical field uses even to this day. Two intertwining serpents, two snakes. And so, as the Lord of creation, as Lord of the Genesis scientists, as Lord of the serpents, Prince Ea snuck into the garden, and he exposed the beast to the knowledge of knowing each other. Pardon me, and the beast, for one moment in its miserable and wretched life, could be as the gods. The beast could mate and could enjoy any female, any male, for as long and whenever he wanted. In a life that was served in the mines, in the fields, and worked until death, the beast was able on its own to have a moment's pleasure. He had the way of the gods at his hands. He was able to make a choice. And so the beast then began to spread the knowledge, the illicit knowledge. And the Lord of Command, the Lord of the Word, walking in the garden one day, noticed that there were two beasts mating. The ultimate sin, the blaspheming, the sacrilege, the ruining of the experiments. Who knows what kind of offspring would be born of an uncontrolled, unscheduled, unsupervised mating. And so he immediately had the offending beast thrown out of the garden. He discovered that in fact there were other beasts who were enjoying the knowledge of the gods, the wisdom of the gods, the ability to have pleasure at any moment. And they were tossed out of the garden. The Lord of the Word got extraordinarily upset, and he began to pass new commands. The first edict that he issued was that his brother, the Lord of creation, would henceforth never be allowed in the garden, and that anything and everything that was attributed to him would be considered to be evil. Prince Ea, in breaking the very backbone of the rules of the system, by destroying the breeding experiment, personified evil. In the Sirian and the Orion star systems, that which has the greatest evil, the greatest connotation of evil, is that which was anti-system. Prince Ea personified the worst, the most heinous crime that one could commit. Da-Ea, known also as Lord. Lord in all ancient languages was Baal. Da-Ea Baal became the personification of evil. Da-Ea Baal is the root for diabolic, diablo, devil. In the story, the creation story that we are all familiar with, It is the serpent who sneaks into the garden to seduce Adam and Eve. And I'm going to suggest to you that it is Prince Ea, the Lord Genesis scientist, the Lord of the serpents, the Lord of creation, the very one who created man in the very beginning, who wanted the experiment to achieve destiny, to achieve free will. It is that very same Lord of creation who went in and gave man an opportunity to get kicked out of the garden. An opportunity to get kicked out of the garden. All offending beasts were removed, and the Lord of the Word labeled anything and everything connected with Lord Da'ea Ba'el as evil. The commands for all the beasts were then once again renewed. The first command, thou shalt have no other lords before me. Prince Ea is no longer the Lord of creation. Any and all of his technicians are no longer the lords. I am the one and only Lord, so saith I, the Lord of the Word. Henceforth, all beasts must... I'm sorry, getting carried away here, but all beasts must attend on the seventh day. They must attend one of my houses in which they will praise me. They will promise to obey me. They will follow my every command and pledge undying loyalty to only me. So saith I, the Lord of the Word.